You, ma'am, that's wild to me. I know you want to be included, but that's up.
It wasn't serious to me. It wasn't something where I was saying, oh my gosh, this man has made me feel uncomfortable. Was I around with the conversation? Yes. Was I accusing you for making me feel uncomfortable? No.
Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss Summer House Martha's Vineyard, Season 2, Episode 8, and baby, I hope that you are comfortable. I hope that you have a snack because this recap will be lengthy. I have so much to say. I was absolutely disgusted by how things played out. And I am 110% on Nick's side. Nick, you didn't go hard enough, in my opinion. I would have worn everybody out. There would have been no peace and no rest. Noelle, Bria, Natalie, and Shanice got off way too easy, in my opinion. I don't understand why the topic of Nick being handsy is being brought up when this topic was already deaded episodes ago. We saw it brought up by Preston, Summer, and Jordan at the end of episode 3. Then at the beginning of episode 4, Nick confronts Summer and Jordan and he's like, do I make you guys uncomfortable? Because Preston just told me what was said. They said, no, you just get a bit too touchy at times, a bit too flirty. That's it, that's all. But it's all good. You're our friend. They had squashed this. So please tell me, why are we bringing this back up when this is the tail end of the trip and we only have one more episode to go? Noelle, you completely blew me talking about, oh, I don't understand. Why is Nick so angry if he didn't do anything wrong? Are you serious right now? And Noelle, I'm so sorry that I have to give you the business, but Miss Mamas, you tried it. If someone is accusing you of something, especially when it comes to accusations that could have serious consequences and could cause Nick to lose jobs and opportunities, he is well within his right to be upset and blast everybody. So let's not, with all this pea-brain logic, acting all confused now. You know good and damn well that if anybody accused you of anything, you would be livid as well. But for Bria, the audacity of you to police Nick's tone and tell him, don't talk to me like that. The way that you go off on everybody, the way your tone is always nasty and sharp, you truly have zero self-awareness because, again, how can you, of all people, try and police somebody else's tone? You are always out of pocket. You act like a brat, and you do not speak to people with respect. But y'all, let me not jump ahead. Let's just get right on into it because you guys already know that we don't have a minute to spare. So we open up this episode with a continuation of Bria and Simon going at it because Bria is pissed that Simon wore that flamingo outfit. I'm not going to hold you guys. The first 9 minutes were about that, and I just don't care. I'm sick and tired of Bria always crying about something. 1 minute she was crying that Simon wasn't there. She was dick deprived. She wanted her man. Now he's here, and she acts like she can't stand him and doesn't want to be around him. So again, I just don't have the patience or the mental capacity to hear her whine and keep ranting about this. I just don't care that much. Yes, the flamingo outfit was silly, but it wasn't that big of a deal. And Lord knows, none of y'all know how to have a good time and have some fun. So I feel like Simon's flamingo suit, it was a welcome change because y'all are always fighting and going at it and rehashing drama. So, you know, I wasn't that mad about it. Of course, Bria's threatening him with breaking up. She's like, pack your stuff up and leave. I don't want to be with you anymore. I'm done. All you do is get drunk and embarrass me. I just said, baby, if you want to be done with this relationship, then just be done. Spare us all. Take us all out of our misery and just break up with him. Better yet, why don't you and Simon stop coming back on this show? Make it easier for all of us. But we see Bria storm out of the room. She says, I can't do this anymore. I'm tired of this. Then we see Simon go downstairs and he's talking to Alex. He's like, I heard that folks were angry about the flamingo suit. And Alex says, look, it's not that serious. It's clear that you were just trying to have fun. And like I said, it wasn't that deep. Nobody was outraged about that flamingo suit. It's a party at the house. You guys are dancing, trying to have a good time. It was not a pressing matter for folks to just be outraged about the flamingo suit. So now we see Summer in her room and Jasmine's there too, and they're talking about Summer choosing to be sober for the night, and we all know that Summer shows her ass when she's drunk. I mean, they all do, to be honest. The vast majority of this cast does not know how to handle their liquor. I think the only person who does a good job is Preston. So anyhow, Summer says that the reason why she chose to be sober tonight because she wants to heal her friendships in a very sober and proper way. She's been at it with Jordan, Alex, Noelle, Bria, so it's pretty much her against the whole house. But Jasmine interjects and says that ultimately Summer has to do what's best for her in the long run. And I think that Summer should keep this up. It's clear that alcohol is not her friend. They don't mix. And I think she needs to get into some therapy, cut back on the drinking, really sort out her issues and her problems, and she'll be great. This whole conversation between Amir and Bria, I just did not care. I felt like, can we please talk about something else? Can we please move on? But we see Amir, who is drunk as hell, by the way. He's trying to sit Bria down so that they can have a conversation about her issues with Simon. So Amir's trying to give her advice, and he's like, do you think that me and Natalie don't fight? We fight all the time, just like a normal couple. And I'm just like, we don't care. And if I'm being honest, the real reason why Martha's Vineyard is struggling in the ratings and with people being interested, because there are too many couples. It's not fun for us to watch all these couples having all these issues. This person's crying about her man. You know, this one is dealing with a jealous girlfriend. That's not entertaining. We want to see a whole bunch of singles mingling, hooking up with each other, hooking up with the locals. Like, show us that. But I wasn't here for Amir rambling and trying to be the drunk Dr. Phil. I said, okay, I officially don't care. But we do see Simon come out to join them. He wants to know what's going on. And Bria's like, Simon, why did you wear that? So Simon says, because I want to be fly and have a good time. So Bria doesn't buy it. She calls BS. And then she adds that all Simon thinks about is himself. Simon says that he's here for her and he supports her. And Bria's like, no, you don't. So now Simon says, you know what, Bria? I don't ever have to come here again. And she's like, fine, do what you want to do. So now she gets up to leave. And I said, if I had it my way, we won't have to see Bria or Simon come back for season 3 in any capacity. I'm tired of the both of them. They're always getting on each other about something. And I feel like Bria makes so many idle threats because when she went back upstairs to her room and she calls up her mom, she's like, Mom, I'm packing up Simon's stuff. We're breaking up. I'm so tired of him. And even her mom said, Bria, that's a bit extreme. He flew all the way out from Germany. Like, don't do that. And I said, Bria, this is about the 100th time that you've either threatened Simon with breaking up or packing his stuff up. You've also threatened to leave the house yourself, and you're still here. I feel like I'm waiting for somebody to call Bria's bluff and say, well, just do it then. I was waiting for Simon to say, well, pack my stuff up then, girl. Kick me out the house and break up with me. I feel like a lot of people on this cast are committed to being miserable. I don't think we've seen one event that did not end in tears or an argument. And another quick side note, one of y'all commented, I think it was last week's recap, about how it seems like I'm too critical of the cast and I'm like grading their behavior. It's not about grading their behavior. It's about calling it how I see it and giving my opinion. Also, if everybody's showing that they're miserable every single episode, what else can I say? I'm not going to lie about what I see and say that they're enjoying themselves. They are visibly showing us that they are at each other's throats day in and day out. So again, I can only call it how I see it. If they give us some fun material, then great. But so far, it's been nothing but fights, tears, deep talks, heart-to-hearts, arguments, accusing people of being handsy and inappropriate. So I can only go off of that. I'm just saying, because I know what fun looks like, and this ain't it. So I'm guessing it was around 2 or 3 a.m. because everybody leaves, and now we see everybody getting ready for bed. So mind you, since Nick's girlfriend Tasia is there, Nick and Tasia are in Shanice's room, and Shanice is in Nick's bed. Remember how Nick is in the bunk beds downstairs with Alex and Amir. So we see Nick go downstairs and he's changing and he's talking to Shanice. So he's like, hey, Shanice, are you all right? Did you have a lot to drink? And she says, yeah, I did have a lot. So he goes on to tell her, since she's in his bed, if she needs anything, feel free to text him at any time. Now, Nick, that's nice and all that you're being a gentleman, but the way Shanice tried to play you at the very end, I don't know if I'd be offering for her to text you at any time if she needs anything. Because the way these ladies want to spin it like you want them and you're trying to cheat, baby, I would just say, look, don't throw up in my bed, keep it cute, and just go to sleep. Because you saying, oh, well, text me if you need anything, she might take that the wrong way. So now it's the next morning, and honey, this house looked a hot mess. I said, if y'all do not hire a cleaning service and call it a day. Preston and Donald were up early cleaning up the kitchen, and Amir was hungover. He was like, I don't know what happened last night. We see the clips, and he was going shot for shot with Preston. Now, again, why are you trying to keep up with somebody who has a high tolerance? That will do you in every single time. Preston knows how to hold his liquor. Amir, on the other hand, was done. Because Preston was just fine, and Amir is the one with the hangover. He is feeling every single shot that he took. But Amir, I really question how hungover you were, because you still found a way to be messy. But anyhow, we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So now we see Noelle going to check on Shanice. Remember, Shanice was sleeping in Nick's bed since Tasia and Nick are in her room. So they're talking about last night and how drunk they got. And now we see Nick come downstairs and he's like, Shanice, did you vomit in my bed? And she's like, no, I vomited in the garbage can right there. I was just like, ugh, you couldn't go to the bathroom? Like, I don't know. Shanice just irks me. I think that she reminds me a lot of Ashley Darby from Potomac. And if you watch my Potomac recaps, then you know how I feel about Ashley Darby. But Shanice, just wait. I'm just warming up the seat for you right now because the way I'm about to go all the way in when we get to that last scene, because Miss Mamas, you tried it. And girl, for you to get on Twitter and live tweet and be delusional about, I don't understand why Nick is yelling at me and Noelle. And then when everybody on Twitter ate you up, rightfully so, you're responding back with passive-aggressive comments? Absolutely not. So here's where the BS starts. Bria, Noelle, Shanice, and Natalie go outside to sit on the hammock and have some girl talk. Now, my first question was, why is Natalie joining them? Because Natalie made it clear that she did not like any of them. In the last episode and the episode before that, she was like, well, I don't want to be a part of that. That's not my scene. That's not my vibe. Very standoffish. So please let me know, when did things change for her that she wants to be around these women that she was not featuring? That right there would have been a big alarm bell, and nothing would have been said around Natalie, because things don't change like that. You're not all of a sudden standoffish towards me and my friends, and now all of a sudden you want to be around and be up in our faces to gossip? Absolutely not. So anyhow, they're discussing last night. Bria is still going on about how angry she was about the flamingo suit. So Bria says, when Simon came down those steps with that flamingo suit on, I was just so pissed. Then she goes on to say that when it's his events, he doesn't act like that. And while Bria gets on my nerves, and while I feel like she blows things out of proportion, that is a valid point. How come when it's your events, you know how to act right and not be silly and you can be serious, but for my events, and because I'm a black woman in a black friend group, how come you, as the only white person in the group, how come you have to be silly and try to take the attention away? So Bria goes on to add that when she attends Simon's events, she shows up with respect. Then she adds that ever since Simon found out he could only stay on the Vineyard for 3 days, he turned into Lucifer. And did I miss something? Because I feel like Simon has been a good sport since he's been there. He's just been trying to have fun and have a good time. So I haven't seen him act like the devil because he's only there for a short time. And Bria, you're there the entire time and you've been showing your ass since day one. So what's your excuse? So Bria's still whining about how she's not even sure if she wants to have Simon come back for next summer. And so Noelle's like, well, do you still want the relationship? So Bria responds by saying that she needs to make sure that Simon wants to be in this relationship and that she needs to set boundaries. And honestly, it feels like Bria and Simon's relationship is way too taxing. And I'm just not a believer in working that hard in relationships. I'm just not. If it has to be this much work and this much strife, then I don't need to be in it. It should be easy, especially since y'all are not married. Y'all really don't understand. I am truly here to enjoy life and have a good time. Miss me with all that other BS. Everybody seems like they're so draining to be around in this group. Now, when the conversation turned to Natalie and Amir, did anybody notice how Natalie put on that black scent for a few seconds? I didn't like that. I said, girl, where's all this coming from? Just speak how you've been speaking the entire time. So Bria's asking how Amir is doing because obviously Amir is visibly hungover. And Natalie says last night Amir was trying to test his limits. And I'm like, boy, you don't need to be testing no limits. I just said, okay, girl, again, what's with this black scent? Stop. So Noelle jumps in and says, a time was had last night. We had a good time. And so Shanice was like, yeah, I was so done. So I think it's either Natalie or Bria who points out that Nick gave Shanice a ginger ale last night because she was done. So since they're on the topic of Nick, of course, Tasia gets brought up. So of course, Bria has to be messy and she's asking if Tasia said anything to Shanice. And Shanice says, no, she's just using my room right now. That's it, that's all. So now you have Natalie jumping in with her thirsty ass. And it's very clear that Natalie was auditioning to be on this show full time next season. And let me just stop right here. Y'all told me in my comments in the last recap that Amir went on a podcast stating that if Natalie is now full time next season, that he doesn't want to come back. I watched that podcast episode y'all were talking about. And when I tell y'all I was so floored, I said, is Amir delusional? For Amir to think that he has that much pull that he can demand his girlfriend be on the cast? That's a joke. Also, Amir, the premise is black people on the Vineyard. Adding your non-black girlfriend would change the dynamics. And Amir, you haven't brought anything this season, and your girlfriend is messy, standoffish, and insufferable, and we don't want to see her back. And it's no shade, Amir, but you've lost it if you think that your girlfriend deserves to be on this show full time if there is a season 3. So here goes Natalie starting up mess. She's like, yeah, Tasia was in the bed waiting for him last night, and he was downstairs obviously trying to get into something. Now, Natalie, how do you know what Nick was doing downstairs at 2 a.m. when you and Amir were in your swimsuits debating about getting in the shower before you guys went to bed? And Bria, Noelle, and Shanice, here's where y'all effed up. Because why is there not a girl code amongst y'all and just an overall friend code within all the cast members in the house? Why are you discussing business with somebody who's not on this cast? And y'all were dead ass wrong to sit there and allow Natalie to start up trouble and stir the pot and run her damn mouth like she knows so much. So here goes Bria talking about, oh, well, I don't like talking about people's relationships, but I will say it is strange how he switches up. Then she goes on to add, remember how last summer we didn't even know that he had a girlfriend. And Bria, when they played the clips back of how you went and told Tasia last summer about how they had no idea that Nick was in a relationship, that was messy as hell then, because why would you do that? So now Shanice jumps in and she wants to know, how long have Tasia and Nick been dating? So Natalie's like, oh, they've been together for a minute. I said, girl, shut up. Again, why are you saying anything? And all throughout this conversation, I kept wondering, why are they so invested in what Nick and Tasia have going on? Do they all want Nick? Because you have Noelle saying, I'm just curious from Tasia's point of view, how does it feel that she's in the house when she has no idea what happened 48 hours ago with her man? And I said, girl, what happened? Y'all were at the Freaknik party having a good time. Again, what are you talking about? So now you have Bria talking about, I mean, I don't want to call him a hoe, but it's like he's still out here being touchy-feely. I said, what are y'all talking about? So now you have Noelle saying that it's clear that Nick still wants to be wild. And I said, girl, what? Are y'all okay? So now Noelle says that there are 2 rules that she has if she has a man when it comes to her man taking a picture with other women. So she's like, rule number 1, don't drape your arms around her breasts and don't wrap your arm around her waist. So now we see production put up the picture of when Nick was all tatted up in the Freaknik costume and he took a picture with, I think, Shanice and Noelle. Now I said, Noelle, the picture that he took with y'all was not suggestive or inappropriate in the least bit. I didn't think that it was sexual at all. I just feel like Nick really can't win for losing. And I'm not somebody who really defends men all like that. But I really feel like in this case, they just want to have a problem with Nick. It seems like whatever he does, they're going to find fault with. Because I don't feel like that picture that he took with Noelle and Shanice was anything that was inappropriate or weird or wild. Like, I don't know. It just feels like they're all reaching. So I guess Natalie thought that she was being Mother Teresa by trying to do a good deed. She volunteers to tell Tasia what they're talking about. She's like, I would approach her like, hey girl, here's what the other girls are saying in the house about your man. And I said, Natalie, you're playing in everybody's faces. Surely you don't believe in your pea brain that that's going to go over well. And Bria, Noelle, and Shanice, I was so floored that nobody said, Natalie, keep your mouth shut. This stays between the 4 of us. Don't say anything. You all just sat there. Bria's talking about, oh, well, I don't want to bring it up. Then you have Noelle saying, well, I didn't see anything personally with my own 2 eyes. I don't want to speak on it. And I said, those are the wrong responses. Y'all need to be saying to Natalie, girl, shut your mouth. Do not say anything. It's not your place. I think it's always a bad idea to tell people that you see their man out here doing X, Y, and Z because 1, the person's going to get mad at you. Then when they get back together, they're both going to hate you for saying anything. So keep your mouth shut. But also, why are y'all so invested and so pressed? It's giving that you guys have a crush on Nick. So now they end the conversation with Bria saying that she's pretty sure that if somebody were down, Nick would definitely F them. And Amir is so full of just like his girlfriend. Because when Natalie came back into the house, we see her and Amir in their room, and she's telling Amir about her conversation that she had with the girls. Now, girl, if you were having girl talk on the hammock, why are you telling your man? And that's another reason why I feel like it's best to keep your business to yourself and keep your mouth shut and move in silence, because 9 times out of 10, when your friend gets a boyfriend or a husband, they're usually pillow talking about your business. Nothing stays between the girls anymore. And it's a sad reality. And I know that on the internet, it's all about, oh my gosh, my girls and girl code, and I love my girls and I don't care about these men. Baby, in real life, it's different. So Natalie says, yeah, me and the girls were talking, and all the girls feel like Tasia deserves to know what Nick's doing when she's not here. So now she goes on to tell Amir about how she volunteered to tell Tasia since they're friends. So Amir's like, well, definitely, but don't blindside her about it. And I said, Amir, are you dumb? Because these types of conversations, the person's definitely going to feel blindsided. There's no way to slice that. And then for Natalie to bring this up on vacation while she's there with Nick, anybody would feel a way about that. And Amir, that's how I know you're not too bright, because why would you even encourage Natalie to open her mouth and say anything? And that definitely will put a wedge between you and Nick, since you and Nick are good friends, right? It's very clear that you put Natalie up to this because you want her on this show. So you said, babe, come on this show, cook up some drama, find out what you can find, stir the pot, and you'll be here full time with me. It's obvious, because no man with good sense would encourage his girlfriend to spread some mess around, and she's not even a part of this group. Also, Nick, along with everybody else, is good and grown. So nobody needs to police Nick's behavior. If Nick is out here cheating and doing God knows what, his girlfriend will eventually see that and she'll act accordingly. Either she'll put up with it or she'll leave. So for today's activity, they're going bike riding, and they're going to be riding all around the vineyard. Everybody's going except for Preston and Donald and Bria and Simon. They're staying back at the house, but they're going to meet everybody for brunch later on. And also, Tasia and Donald are going home later that evening. Now, mind you, Nick and Tasia are dressed up. So everybody notices that. They're like, wait, are they going bike riding too? Obviously not, because they're all dressed. So now you have Shanice saying, oh, they're just such a weird couple. And I said, again, why do y'all care so much? I wouldn't say too much about anybody's relationship looking weird when you're out here giving it away for free. You have all these men of high status, like you claim, who are on your line, but yet you're crying about how you can't pay a bill or buy an outfit from H&M. The literal definition of a wet ass and a dry purse. And if the elders didn't tell you, they always said that those two things don't mix. But is it just me, or does it feel like Tasia is uncomfortable around the cameras? I feel like we barely saw her speak, barely saw her and Nick interact, and their interactions were a bit dry. If I have to be honest, Nick, y'all kind of gave brother and sister vibes at one point, because I was not seeing the romance. But all in all, while that might be so, Shanice has no business saying anything about anybody. So while they're off to ride bikes, we flip back to the house. Simon and Bria are outside talking about their argument about Bria being pissed about him coming down in that flamingo suit. I'm not going to hold you guys. I wanted to fast forward through this scene. I said, if they don't stop talking about this, I'm going to scream. We're all tired. So anyhow, Simon starts it off by saying that he was really sad with how Bria kept saying that she wanted to end the relationship and how she tried to trigger him. Bria snaps immediately. She's like, cut the shit. All I wanted was love and support. This was a black tie event. Now I said, time out. Let's stop right here, because where was the black tie event? Was the black tie in the room with us? Because I know good and damn well that that was not a black tie event. I said I had no idea that black tie events were serving pizza and subs from the grocery store. Where was the catered spread? Where was the open bar? I didn't see anybody in a floor-length gown. I didn't see any men in tuxedos. So Bria goes on to say that it was disrespectful on so many levels, because this party was honoring his line brother who passed away, and his friends from college were there, and everybody was staring when Simon came down in that flamingo suit. So now Bria continues by adding that if she ever acted like that at one of Simon's events, he would have cursed her out. So now Simon jumps in and says, well, no, that's not true, because at that one event, you did behave badly. You weren't there more than 5 minutes before you started saying how you were about to curse somebody out, and then you walked out of the party and then sat in the car the whole time. Bria says that Simon puts her in dangerous situations because her moving to Germany as a black woman, she's dealt with a lot of racism. She goes on to add that Simon protects these people who are racist against her, and then she adds that he's blind to it because he's white and doesn't understand it. So Bria goes on to tell the story of how when she first came around Simon's family, they were racist, saying some racist stuff about her, his cousins, and then one of his cousins said something like, oh, Simon, I had no idea that you like indigenous women. So then she goes on to say that when they were out one time, some girl pushed her and then she pushed the girl back, and Simon didn't say anything. So when Bria shared all this, I said, oh, okay. So that's why it seems like she overreacted about the flamingo suit. It's not about the flamingo suit. It's about how she feels like Simon does not have her back and doesn't take her seriously. Now, here's my thing. I'm here for black women dating out. As a black woman who does date men of all races, I am very intentional about vetting and making sure that their family is on board and that there is no racism or BS. And if there is, are they willing to check their racist family members? Because I don't play that. So hearing all these situations that Bria's been in where she's dealt with racist remarks, somebody pushing her, and he's just sat there and turned a blind eye to that, that's a no. I would have said shout out to everybody, I had fun a long time ago.
Oh! Shout out to everybody, I had fun. I gotta be good.
Because I need to know that my man has my back and that nobody could say anything slick or nasty to me, and that includes his family, friends, associates. They need to know that they will be checked if they try it. That was a bit of a cop-out to me for Simon to say, oh, well, nobody's perfect, but I do love you and I have your back. I just said, Simon, you have to do better than that. You are with a black woman. When you peep some racist stuff, you need to say something immediately. Check that. But they hug it out, and Bria goes on to say that her relationship with Simon is worth salvaging because he's with her even when she is wrong. And I just said, I mean, girl, look, if you like it, I love it. But I don't want to hear any more complaints about Simon's this and Simon's that, because you clearly want to stay with him. So let's stop with these threats about, oh, I want to break up, you can leave. Like, it's enough already. So now we jump back to everybody else riding bikes. And I have to say, I really enjoyed this scene because for the first time ever, they were actually having a good time. Now, mind you, they're riding all over the vineyard. So at one point, Jordan is having some trouble and Jasmine is coaching her through it. She's like, girl, just keep moving forward. You got it. So Jordan says that since Silas isn't here, it's nice to just have Jasmine and it feels like old times again and she misses her friend. And I just said, Jordan, you know good and damn well that you have been icing your friend out. You could have had this connection with your friend a long time ago, but you chose not to. You chose to be a mean girl and ice her out for God knows what reason. Has anybody else noticed that we have not been seeing a lot of Jasmine this season? And it was really apparent in these last few episodes. Especially in last week's episode, I feel like we barely saw Jasmine. And it just makes you wonder, is this being done on purpose by production? Or is it because other people have so much drama right now that they're not really focusing on her? So they finished riding bikes and now everybody's at the sandbar for brunch. So everybody's joking around, trying to have some fun. And we see Natalie mouth out to Tasia, we need to talk. So Natalie walks her narrow behind over to Tasia and she's like, hey girl, can we just talk? So Tasia's like, well, that depends on what it's all about. So Natalie says, well, I want to keep you in the loop about some things before things come to your attention. So obviously by her saying that, Tasia's already on guard because one, you're obviously alluding to something that Nick is doing. Now, what really pissed me off was Natalie petting Tasia like she was a dog. I said, girl, the optics of this are wrong. Why are you petting this black woman's head like this? And Tasia is better than me because I would have said, girl, get your hands off of me. Don't pet me. Like, how dare you? And I was so happy how Tasia declined your invitation. She said, no, thank you. I don't want to talk. I'm about to be leaving soon anyway. I'm good. And you stood there looking so stupid. I said, good for you. That's what you get. Trying to go over here and embarrass this black woman for what? And Amir looked so dumb letting her do that anyhow. Nick was visibly pissed because he's like, well, you know what? It's my time to take them to the airport. So him, Tasia, Donald, and Preston get up. And we see that Tasia is visibly annoyed because Nick asks her, are you okay? And she says, no, I just want to go home. And Amir sounded like the world's biggest dummy talking about, oh, I know Natalie's intentions and they weren't malicious. They weren't? So you think in your pea brain that that makes sense? You really believe in your heart that Natalie's intentions were not malicious? She was trying to be messy and stir up seeds of chaos and confusion because she wants to be on this damn show. And the Karen behavior jumped out because you have Natalie trying to play the victim When she was talking about, oh, I just hope that Tasia doesn't hate me. I was just trying to help out because I'm not trying to be seen as the problematic drama girl. And Amir talking about, oh no, babe, you're not. I said, girl, that's exactly what you are. You are being messy as hell and you know it. Stop throwing rocks and hiding your hands, talking about, oh, well, I hope that she doesn't hate me and this, that, and the third. Girl, if Tasia never speaks to you again, you deserve that. So we see Nick and Preston back at the house. They've just dropped off Tasia and Donald at the airport. So Nick is prepping Preston on what's about to go down because he's livid. He's like, apparently Bria, Noelle, and Shanice are saying that I'm too handsy. Preston was me. He was like, oh my gosh, like here we go again. So Nick goes on to say, me, Jordan, and Summer already talked about this. We squashed it a week ago. But now to hear them say that, I'm just confused. So Preston wants to know, how did this news get back to Natalie in the first place? And I said, because the girls were out there running their damn mouths like idiots. That's why. That's how it got back to her. And then Preston shares that he gets irritated with this house because the fact that people talk around each other. Instead of being direct, they talk about the person to other people. The group gets back to the house, and it's clear that Amir and Natalie feel guilty as hell because the way Amir was talking a mile a minute. Natalie has the nerve to say, are you mad at me, to Nick? And then when Nick said no, he gives her a hug. And I just said, oh no, you're way too nice. Because I would have cursed Natalie all the way out. Girl, what the F are you talking about? I'm too handsy. And why are you involved in this in the first place? That should have come out of your mouth. But I said, I know you're trying to be a gentleman and you don't want to let your good friend's girlfriend have it. But in that moment, I wish you would have been honest and said, Natalie, I am pissed at you because why would you do that? Why would you make the moment awkward in front of everybody going up to my girlfriend saying, let's talk about something in the house? Everybody can see that Nick is pissed. You have Simon walking over to Nick. He's like, hey, Nick, I just want to apologize for the flamingo suit. Nick was like, brother, I'm not even tripping over that, but thank you for the apology anyway. But I do have an issue with your girlfriend, Bria, so bring her down. I said, ooh. So now you have Summer jumping in. She's like, do you want to talk about it? And Nick says, girl, we already talked about it. Me, you, and Jordan upstairs last week. We already resolved it. We're good. So now you have Noelle interjecting. Now, Miss Noelle, you have been one of my faves this entire season. I like you a lot. I'm going to try and go easy on you. But Miss Girl, you played in Nick's face. Nick had me screaming when he said to Noelle, Miss Ma'am, I know you want to be included, but that shit's fucked up. Noelle was gagged, honey. She was speechless. The girl was too stunned to speak. And it was the backpedaling for me. I said, no, say what you were saying on the hammock. Say it with your chest. But you will not sit up here and backtrack and act like, oh, I don't understand why Nick is so mad. No, because y'all are out here lying on him. So Noelle goes on to say that it was never that serious and she never said that Nick made her uncomfortable. Then she says, was I there for the conversation? Yes. But was I accusing you? No. So now Nick is like, well, I stand corrected then. And I said, now, Noelle, that's not true. Sweetheart, what you said on the hammock is a lot different than what you're saying now. So Noelle is obviously shaken up and she's like, you know what? Let me go upstairs and get Bria and Shanice down here. So as she's going up to get them, she says that obviously it was a mistake involving Natalie in this conversation because usually when she has girl talk with Bria and Shanice, it stays between the three of them. And I said, well, girl, a hard head makes for a soft ass, doesn't it? Because you should have known better than to include messy Natalie in that conversation. And also, when she volunteered to tell Tasia, that was the big clue right there, that she was not to be trusted and that you guys had done the wrong things by opening your mouth in front of her. And Noelle, you really pissed me off when you said, but if Nick isn't guilty, then why is he so mad? Excuse me? Would you not be angry and irate if somebody accused you of something that you know is a lie? Stop. Let's not act obtuse here. Don't do that. And I thought it was awfully funny how Bria and Shanice were both afraid to come downstairs because they knew that Nick was about to wear their asses out. So now Shanice comes down and she's just like, okay, so like what's going on? So Nick is like, look, I heard that some stuff was said that I'm too handsy with you. So you have Shanice backpedaling and she's like, no, I wouldn't say handsy. I would just say that you have wandering eyes. Now I said, girl, what? So now in the confessional, Shanice is talking about, oh, everybody knows that Nick has wandering eyes. We've all said it in the house and Nick is just mad that he's been caught and he needs to be single. I said, girl, how dare you? And when production played the tapes back of you getting naked right next to Nick, first of all, if anybody gets naked right in front of me, I'm looking. It's human nature. You're going to look. That does not mean that you have wandering eyes. It just means that you're a human being who's like, oh, okay, damn, they're naked. Like, you know what I'm saying? Then they showed you twerking right next to him as well. What is he supposed to do? Everybody was looking at you in the house, sis. So what are you saying? And also, Shanice, how do you know that you're not making other people feel uncomfortable with you getting naked 24/7? Let's talk about that. And you were all over Nick at the Freaknik party, weren't you? Talking about, I'm gonna F Nick tonight. He looks good, just like my type. Oh, I like that. I'm gonna F you, Nick. I'm gonna F you. You said it several times. So that's okay. But because Nick looked at you because you got naked in front of him, now he has wandering eyes and he's caught and he's guilty. What are you saying right now? And that's why you got packed up on Twitter the other night. I got my entire life when Nick said, so eyes are hands now? And then when he said, why didn't y'all just tell me? And I said, exactly. Y'all are over here gossiping and talking about this man like a dog for no damn reason. And now you want to blow this out of proportion and make it seem like he's some deviant. And Noelle, you getting upset and trying to say more. I said, Noelle, if I were you, I would just be quiet. Because what you're saying makes no sense. Nobody wants to hear it. You, Bria, and Shanice brought this on yourself, talking right in front of Natalie. So Noelle jumps in saying, well, the conversation went like, well, we're all saying this, so why not just tell Tasia? So Nick is like, who said that? So Natalie finally comes to the front. She raises her hand and she says, it was me. I was just coming from the mindset of, that's my friend, that's my girl. And now you have Amir jumping in to defend her. And he's like, yeah, it was just being a good friend. That's all it was. And I said, Amir, please, we don't need you saying anything. Let her take her verbal lashings from Nick because it's what she deserves. And Amir, you really sound dumb saying they're not attacking you, Nick. It's just about girl code. Girl code does not entail running back and telling your messy ass boyfriend stuff that you spoke about in private with your girls. Let's talk about that. I like how Alex jumped in to defend Nick. He was like, may I just say something quickly? Y'all rag on Nick all the time. And the fact that you guys did not have the decency to come to him directly. And I said, thank you, Alex, because what they're doing is not right and it's not fair. And Bria, the way I wanted to jump through the TV, because when you said, well, I didn't say anything about you, I said, girl, the lies coming out of your mouth. You were sitting up there on that hammock talking about, yeah, I feel like if Nick were down to F somebody else, he would definitely do it. And I'm not saying that he's a hoe, but he is touchy-feely. He is inappropriate, this, that, and the third. You are running your mouth. Now you want to lie and say, well, I didn't say anything. Girl, shut up. You were the ringleader. You and Natalie. And I loved how Nick called out the confusion. He said, well, apparently y'all had a lot to say earlier, so why is everybody so confused now? I said, get them again.
I'm gonna just scoot on over and let you whack him. Get him again. Get him for me.
So now Bria says that, well, maybe I said you're a bit loose, but you've never been handsy with me. So now Preston's like, wait, what does loose mean in this context? So Bria's like, well, you know, loose is like we all get a bit loose when we get drunk. We get a bit flirty. So now Nick stops her and he says, wait, we're adding new words to this. So now I'm flirting with you? So Bria says, yes, you have flirted with me. And Bria, when they play the tapes back, we see you asking him to take you to Nobu. So if you were so offended by Nick's flirtation, then why would you ask him to take you out to dinner when you have a man? I'll wait. Also, Bria, you were here for the flirting because, what was it, 4 episodes ago, you were asking Nick to sleep in your bed and be your sleep support. Let's talk about that for a minute. So that was okay, but now you want to talk about, oh, well, you were flirting with me and all that stuff. Excuse me? You were flirting back with him. It was a mutual flirtation. So Bria continues on by saying, I mean, yeah, you were flirting, but I didn't feel the need to run to Tasia about it. It's just that you're a bit loose, like Shanice said. And now Nick says, let me stop you right here. Me and Shanice already talked about it. I'm talking to me and you right now. And what does Bria do? That signature BS. She decides to walk away and end the conversation. She's like, so what you're not going to do is talk to me like that. And I said, wait, what? The woman who speaks to everybody crazy, the woman who's always yelling like she's 10 years old, the most immature person in this house, she's going to tell Nick that he can't talk to her any which way. Excuse me? And then when Nick kept raising his voice and you were talking about watch your tone, and then you said let it out, then let it out, let it out. I said that is so messed up. That is so foul and so wrong of you. Sitting up here taunting this man knowing that you lied on him, and now you want to act like you're the victim and he's the one who's in the wrong. And if I'm being completely transparent, I don't want Bria to come back for season 3. I don't. I'm exhausted by the lack of accountability, the whining, the brattiness. I can't take it anymore. I really can't. And I really hope and pray that at this reunion, Nick was given a real apology from all of you guys, because what you guys did was nasty. Y'all should all feel ashamed. Y'all want to sit up here and act like he's the one in the wrong. Are you guys insane? But y'all, we see a to be continued, and that's where the episode ends. Now, next week is the finale episode, and let me just say, for season 3, cast changes have got to be made. Because I'm telling y'all right now, if y'all keep certain people on this show, nobody's going to tune in for season 3. But y'all, that was my recap. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you all thought, and you already know, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye.